Chapter 1 Playful Quarrel. Dr. Billy wakes up and sits up as his mother tries to shake him awake. He rubbed his eyes, looking like he was struggling to wake up. Let's sleep a bit more. It's still early evening, so what's the rush? He grumbled in a sleepy voice. After finishing dinner, he collapsed onto a straw mat in the yard and fell asleep without realizing it. But now that he was being woken up, he felt a little annoyed. Hey, early evening? Look at the moon. It's already night. Hurry up and go check the field. Your father must be waiting. Mother urged him, gently but firmly. Doctor had no choice but to adjust his waistband and get up. Mother only cares about father, he grumbled as he dragged his feet out through the main gate. Mother yelled at the back of his head. You worthless boy! So, your old father is supposed to work in the field all night? While you, a full-grown 20-year-old, sleep from early evening? Does that make you happy? But Doctor didn't even act like he heard her. He just stuck out his already thick lips and stepped out through the gate. The moon rose round and high above, and the damp night was quite cool. Dew shines on the rice ribs in the field. From each house, the smell of barley husks burned to chase away mosquitoes drifts through the air. The buzzing of mosquito swarms can be heard close to his ear. Then it fades into the distance. Doctor stands outside the gate, lighting his pipe. He notices Germany approaching, carrying a heavy stick used for pounding grain. She's returning the stick she borrowed earlier this evening. Doctor was about to light his cigarette, but quickly crouched down to avoid being seen by Germany. When she comes very close, he suddenly shouts, Who's there? You scared me, Germany cries out, jumping back. Then she gets angry and yells, You awful man! You tried to scare me! What the hell? Who are you talking to like that? Doctor growls, wrinkling his nose, and rushes at her. But Germany slips away and throws down the stick with a loud bang. Then she runs off, teasing him. Take that! Then she holds the gate post, laughing as if telling him to catch her. Doctor wants to chase her, but worries his mother will scold him for being late. So he says, I will see you tomorrow, and turns away. Germany shouts, I'm not scared of you. I'll catch you tomorrow and teach you a lesson. Doctor says, Take that. If I were you, I could run over and catch you in no time. Hearing this, Doctor quickly turns around and stares at Germany. He keeps looking at her, then takes a step forward, then another, and as he gets closer, Jomna's face becomes clear. Under the moonlight, she lifts her face, her skin glowing white. She gazes at him for a moment, then slowly closes her eyes. After a long moment, Doxa tilts his head, confused, and then turns away. Chapter 2. Marriage Talk. The next evening, on his way back from the field, Doxa saw Johnson, a village matchmaker who loved arranging marriages, staggering drunkenly at the fork leading to the upper village. He was wearing a guard, and even a durumagi, despite the busy farming season. Wondering where he had been and why he was so drunk, Doxa casually asked, "Where have you been?" "Oh, Doxa," Johnson said, staggering as he walked. "Where did you go to end up this drunk?" Doxa asked. "Me? Oh, I went to deliver the soldier and was treated some drinks. Ha ha ha. If you decided to get married, I'll deliver your soldier too. Ha ha ha." Johnson said. "Which man is getting married?" Doxa asked. "Which man? It's not a groom's wedding. It's a bride," Johnson answered. "Who is it?" Doxa asked again. "Jomne," Johnson replied. "Jomne? Is she already getting married?" Doxa asked in surprise. "Already? She's 13, isn't she?" Johnson answered. Hearing this, Doxa couldn't stop his heart from thinking without knowing why. Until now, Doxa had only thought of Jomne as a tomboyish girl in the same village, someone he always bickered with and playfully insulted. But when he heard that she was getting married, his heart suddenly sank, and for some reason, he felt a little sad. "Who is she marrying?" After walking silently for a moment, Doxa asked. "You know the upper village, right? There is a man named Onan," Johnson replied, turning the question back at him. "Yeah?" Doxa answered. "That's the man," Johnson said. "What? How can you marry someone like him?" Doxa asked, feeling upset. Onan was over 30, had a thick beard, and was a complete drunkard. "Come on, don't talk nonsense," Johnson said, not realizing how Doxa felt, and started praising the groom. "He may be a bit older, but he worked as a farmhand for years and saved all 201. He already sent 100 won to Jonah's family as a wedding gift, and he'll use the last to set up their new home. You should hurry up and save money too, so you can get married. Ha ha ha. Doxy worked with his head down, thinking again about Jonah's face, which had looked so bright in the moonlight the night before. That evening, he had no appetite and barely touched his dinner, which was unusual for him. As he sat there blankly, Jonah came again to borrow the grinding stick. Doxy pretended not to notice and quietly got up, stepping outside the gate to wait for her. Inside, Germany was chatting with Doxy's mother. When she saw him leave, she followed him outside. What did you say last night? Doxy blocked her way and lowered his voice, his tone firm. What did I do wrong? Jamna stood still, as if she had done nothing wrong. But then, as if something was on her mind, she adjusted her posture slightly and looked carefully at Doxy. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, suddenly, Doxy asked, I heard you're getting married? Jamna lowered her head and remained silent. After another brief silence, Doxy suddenly spoke again, his voice firm. Why, girl? Why are you marrying that bearded guy? His tone was strong, almost demanding. But then, after a short pause, his voice softened. You should marry me instead. Yet, Jamna still said nothing. Doxy took a step closer to Jamna and said, Don't get married. Jamna kept fiddling with the string of her skirt. After a long pause, she murmured weakly, But what can I do? They already took the money. You should return the money and give back Saja too, Doxy said. But Jamna shook her head. Half of the money is already spent. This time, Doxy fell silent. After a long pause, he finally asked, Do you really want to marry him? After another brief silence, Jamna tilted her head slightly, looked up at him gently, and smiled as she said, I'll go, and then come back. Doxy looked surprised. Really? He asked. Yes? Jamna nodded. For sure? Doxy asked again. Yes, for sure, Jamna replied. Doxy hesitated for a moment before saying, Then just go for a year and come back, okay? Okay, I'll definitely come back, but you have to wait for me. You have to stay single. Promise? Jomne said. I promise. I won't get married. I wait for you. They looked at each other and smiled.